was in a Zoom meeting for a public speaking organization that I belong to. And there was a former member who took it upon himself to introduce everyone by their career. You're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a veteran, you're an architect. And then he got to me. You. I don't know what you do. Such disdain. At the time, I was actually working part-time in digital marketing, and I had a meditation business I was trying to grow that never really panned out. In a way, this guy was kind of right. I wasn't really definable into one sort of career box. You know, in a society that demands identity through your job title, I was undefinable. You know, our culture is obsessed with the question, so what do you do? That's usually the first thing people ask once they get your name. And yet, it ties your worth to your career in a way that I've always found disturbing. I've always done a lot of things. I could never define myself in just one way, especially when it came to answering the question, so what do you do? In my early 30s, I figured I had about 2 years of working full-time before I would burn out, wither, and feel like I started to die inside. Since 2013, I've actually held a series of part-time jobs that pull on my different skills. I've had a couple full-time stints in there. In 2022, I decided to stake out on my own and found my little company, Funky. I quit everything else, and for the first 6 months or so, I painted full-time. Sounds like a dream. No, it wasn't. For a little while it was, but then I started to feel burned out, and I realized that I'd forgotten that I actually need variety. I folded digital marketing and web design back in. There was something still missing. That's when I discovered different books speaking to people like me, the Renaissance souls, the multipotentialites, the scanners, the polymaths, people who had too many passions to choose just one. I started researching Renaissance businesses, the idea that you can take many interests and fold them into one theme and one business. That makes me think of a famous tech company. You know, they started out with clunky computers and then they made phones and tablets, watches, have a TV platform, payment systems. There's just all kinds of stuff, but it's unified under one theme. I wanted that for myself. But how could I combine web and graphic design over here with Reiki and chakra tarot stuff over here and cats and dogs and piano? A conundrum it was. One that I chewed on for a very long time. And then I decided to consult with an AI bot. I know it sounds weird. I've always been hesitant to use it. I think that there are a lot of drawbacks to AI stuff. I decided just to try it, just to see what it might say. I typed everything in, all of my interests, piano, dogs, cats, web design, graphic design, hiking, art, meditation, Reiki and chakra, tarot, cinematic videography, all of it. I just typed it all in and then said, what do I do with this? The answer would change everything, at least for my business. Yep, a soulless robot came up with an answer that seemed almost intuitive, like it had a sense of things. It was kind of scary, actually. But it saw things that I didn't. It sort of combined my interests and said, actually, I see spirituality. And I said, of course you do. Now my business tagline is where visual design meets inner alchemy. And everything clicked from there. Meditation, my Reiki and chakra certifications, tarot, cinematic videography, web and graphic design, storytelling, hiking, traveling, cats and dogs. It all made sense. Want a website? Great. You know what I'll do with it too? Is give you a business tarot reading and discover any holes in your business acumen. Not into design? No problem. How about I do a little bit of energy healing on you? Let's balance your chakras, talk about nutrition that opens you up. Would you like a tarot reading with that? I'm sharing this because I know that there are other people out there like me, people who start to die inside at the thought of doing just one thing for years and years and years. People who've been told, you need to focus. You're too flaky. You are too much. You are just too much. Terms that have been applied to me my whole life. If that's you, hear me now. It's okay to have 1,000 interests. It's okay to build a life where you have purpose on top of career, on top of just living the best life you can with all of your interests combined. You may know the quote, a jack of all trades, master of none. Well, I'm not a Jack, I'm a Jill, and there's a whole second part to this quote that gives it a whole new meaning. A Jill of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. All of my interests, they're like strings. And together they weave the song that is my life.